Everyone hits a bump in the road. What do you do with it? Be inspired as we explore the ways people experience, navigate, and manage the ups and downs and twists and turns in this road trip called life. Welcome to another episode of Bump in the Road. The basic podcast is always free. We also have a premium subscription called Bump 2 that lets you listen in on extended behind-the-scenes conversations with our guests. Check it out at www.bumpintheroad.us. Andrew Richards and Nick Adkins are the co-founders of PinkSocks. I spoke with Nick Adkins a month or so ago. The podcast was so popular, we thought we'd do another that included Andrew and shared more of the PinkSocks story. What are PinkSocks? They're all about kindness and giving and creating human connection. It's a global movement that started by accident. Settle in for a great story. Welcome to Bump in the Road. If you would, tell me a little bit about this. Tell me the story of how you two met.
Yeah, thanks. So hi, I'm Andrew Richards, and I'm excited to tell this story. But Nick and I met through, which is hilarious in a way, a random LinkedIn connection. And we both were living in the Portland area at the time. And I received just a random LinkedIn request. And if you've never met Nick and you've never seen him before, you see the picture of Nick, and my thought was, who is this guy? And you got to understand, at the time, I'm wearing dress shirts and slacks and very kind of corporate mindset. And Nick says, "Hey, I'm looking for new innovators, and I'm moving into Portland, and I want to meet great people." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to go say yes." And Nick and I met first time in person at the Red E Cafe in Portland, Oregon. And we planned to meet for 30 minutes, have a cup of coffee, and just chat for a bit. So I walk in, not knowing what to expect, and I see a crazy dude wearing a kilt. And I go, is this Nick guy? And I walk up to shake his hand, and Nick goes, "No, I hug." And I went, "Okay, so that's new." And have a big hug, and we sit down, have some coffee. And what I thought was going to be a real brief conversation took over 2 hours. And in that very moment, I think we became lifelong friends, and we were talking about books and things we had in common in life. And we just connected. And Nick, it was Ready Player One, the book I recommended that I just finished reading that you needed to check out. And, we parted ways, and we were thinking about what was going to happen next and just keeping in touch. And I head home, and I kid you not, a few hours later, I get a text from Nick, who I just met, and he has a picture of him holding Ready Player One that he had gone directly out and purchased after we had met. And we've basically been family ever since. We've been close, and that's just really how Nick and I connected. And it's been a crazy journey ever since then. From there, we ended up doing a startup together, and which was an adventure in and of itself in healthcare, because we both have we're very interested in how we can improve the lives of others through healthcare. But through that, we had some fun adventures, and as one does when you build a healthcare startup company, or many startup companies for that matter, you spend some time in Silicon Valley, spend some time in the Valley raising funds. And as you can imagine, we're pretty non-traditional in the way we approach things. So Nick and I would spend many trips down in San Francisco at the Phoenix Hotel, which, if you don't know San Francisco very well, it's in the Tenderloin. And the Tenderloin is a different socioeconomic status than a lot of the city. And it's not where the nicest hotels and properties in the city are, but it's full of amazing people, and it's a great place to be. And the Phoenix is really kind of a rock and roll hotel. And I mean that in a great way. There's a swimming pool in the middle, and there's a big ring of rooms around it, and everyone hangs out in the courtyard and has a great time. And it's a great place to meet people. And while we were there, we met this couple that was vacationing from Israel. And it was, believe it or not, a retired Israeli military general, and her husband, who was a professor university, I believe, in Tel Aviv. And every morning we would sit together with them and we'd have breakfast with them, and they'd ask us great things to go do in San Francisco, and we'd give them some ideas. And then Nick and I went off and did whatever hustling we were doing on that day. And then we'd see him in the evening. And it was this great little adventure that we got to share. We had that moment to share space. And if people that don't know, Nick is adamant about always wearing a kilt. And when you wear a kilt, you need to wear fantastic knee-high socks that are fun and entertaining. And every morning, Nick had a different pair of socks on. And this couple would always look at him and laugh and smile. And it'd always be a hit. It'd be a kick. It'd be a great conversation piece. And, we were doing that. And on the last day before we were going to leave, Nick and I were talking as we're packing up and getting ready to go. And Nick leans over to me and goes, I've got one pair of socks left that I haven't worn yet. I want to give them to him. I want to give them to his name was Shlomo, and he's just this one of the nicest,
Gotta clarify,
smiliest.
these were brand new socks, not socks
Yeah.
that I just haven't worn. These were.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. No, that great clarity. These were not. They're not that dirty. These were brand new, unworn, hilarious socks, and these weren't even pink socks yet. These were just fun, exciting. I believe they were bright yellow at the time, and so we go out in the morning, and we have breakfast, and Nick goes, "Hey, I've got something for you," and he gifts them these socks, and the smile and the energy of that moment, it hit both of us. It was unbelievable just to have that gifting experience, to have that human connection, that human empathy. And we've been having breakfast with this couple every morning, yet here we are just uncovering something new. And there's hugs and there's smiles and there's pictures, and it resonated. It was something that it sat with us, and we left and we could not stop talking about it. And we were just thinking, wow, this is there's something here. There is something about just meeting somebody new and being in a space to hear their story and share yours. And we had just lived it. And the gears are turning, and Nick and I are talking, and we go, how can we do this all the time? I want this to be part of my life every day. And Nick was talking and thinking, and he realized that whenever he wore, believe it or not, bright pink socks, people would always walk up to him, and it was like this light bulb turned on. If you wore bright pink socks with mustaches that are funny and smiley and happy, people are going to come talk to you. And we realized that could create that moment that we had just shared at the Phoenix Hotel in San Francisco, that we could create that empathy, that ripple effect of joy. And so, yeah.
Now, where did the design come from on the pink socks?
Yeah, and it was an old friend of ours that lived in Portland that she ran a sock company, and she happened to have a bunch of different designs, and one of them would just happen to be bright pink socks with mustaches. And we were able to grab some from her, and they were just fun, right?
Yeah, the ones we gifted to Shlomo there in San Francisco were yellow. They were yellow and red, and then with the red top, and all the print on the socks was a robot monkey.
Yeah, that's right. It was the robot monkey socks, right?
So, like Andrew was saying, we weren't only wearing pink socks at that point. Pink socks was just one of a drawer full of cool, fun, funky socks that I would rotate each day. But when Andrew and I decided to go to this conference in Chicago back in 2015,
yeah,
I said, hey, how about we go rolling in there with a bunch of the pink socks? And he goes, why the pink ones? I said, well, it seems like the one pair of socks I always get the most compliments on every single time is the pink ones with the mustaches. The robot monkey ones were cool.
The rocket ship ones are cool.
Horns,
yeah, we have lots
rainbows,
of fun ones.
Everything else, we always get some kind of, hey, those are cool. But the ones that seem to just, no matter, when or where, we make some connections. So I asked Andrew, I said, okay, look, we're going to go rolling into this conference. It's going to be a bunch of healthcare people in suit and ties. And I'm rolling in the kilt, and why don't you roll on some blue jeans? Andrew rolled his blue jeans up so people could see his socks.
Yep.
We came rolling in there just.
And and to add on to that, it's when I mentioned I was dress shirts and slacks. By the time we roll into this conference, I'm jeans and a brewery T-shirt, fully embracing Portland. And so here come these us, right? So kilt and blue jeans and a brewery T-shirt. We're in bright pink socks and into a room full of people in suits. And we brought some socks with us, and there was no business, but yeah. And we brought we're big fans of the show Cowboy Bebop. And so we had a stuffed. I don't know if anyone's seen that anime. It's a classic, but one of the main characters is Ein, and he's a little corgi, but he's a computer hacker. And we had so I had a stuffed Ein to keep us company. So here come these two. I think Cracker Jacks is the best way to describe us, walking around in a kilt and blue jeans with a stuffed corgi and bright pink socks at a healthcare conference. So that just kind of sets the table for where we started and what we brought to the discussion in the healthcare industry. And we, the conference, there's a lot of stuff that's happened, but the gist of it was we brought 100 pairs. People walked up to us and asked us, "What's up with the socks? What's your company?" And really, all we did was recreate that moment we had shared at the Phoenix in San Francisco with, "Hey, we're just here to hear your story and share a bit about us." And that was it. There was no brand, there was no money. It was just we wanted to have human connection because we wanted to feel that joy over and over. And people would go, "How do I feel that? How do I get socks?" And we would smile and reach into one of our bags and pull out a pair. And sometimes we'd pull out two and say, "Now you have two pairs and one's for you." And when somebody asks you why you have those socks, you get to say the same thing. And then they go, "Well, how do I get to get a pair?" You get to enjoy that gifting experience as well. So we went in with that and we did 100 pairs, and we pretty much thought, well, that was fun. We really enjoyed it. It made the trip just a lot of fun. And we thought that would be that. And it really wasn't, was it, Nick? It just kind of,
No.
what it was fast forward
Yeah.
to today, it was about 100,000 pairs later and around the world. And it exploded. And I joke with people that we accidentally created a global movement. This was not a plan. This was not a strategy. It was, we just want to feel human connection again. And if we can share that with somebody, that's great. And we had no idea that so many people needed that too. And the ripple effect, we talk about the ripple effect, where if you can make one person smile and then two people see them smile, now they smile, and you start extrapolating that out, that one moment of joy can impact dozens, maybe hundreds of people in a day. What could you really do in the world if people started thinking differently? So it's just gone from there. And like I said, yeah, it's insane, right, Nick?
Like Andrew said, we had no idea. This is early 2015. This story with Shlomo, and then going to the conference, we just had no idea that it would become this global movement. And really, each year, heck, each day, really, it just continues to unfold and grow. And we're super grateful to be part of something that people have identified with and have latched onto. And it's literally around the world. It's mind blowing. I mean, I still get up every day and search the hashtag on Twitter to see what's happening around the world. And it's nice to see some good news, some happy, smiling faces. I mean, especially, in these last few years when there's so much news that can really bring you down, to know that there's this global tribe out there that's all about creating smiles. And that's, I mean, I give away socks every day, and Andrew does too. And a lot of people that get the pink socks, that, as Andrew said, that's how you do it. You wear your socks and somebody says, "Hey, those are cool. I love your socks. Those are fun." That's the universe tapping you on the shoulder. Say, "Okay, stop what you're doing. Get off your phone. Stay on the train and other stop. Say, I'm Nick. What's your name?" "I'm Andrew. Hey, it's good to see you. Hey, wait a minute. I've got something in my bag for you." Boom. And then you give somebody their pink socks. And what I tell people each time in real life that I have the opportunity to give pink socks, and it's anytime, the grocery store, the post office, wherever, right? The gas station, is when I give them their pink socks, I say, "Hey, it's good to see you." And that smile, the smile that I see, your smile right now, that is the gift that's going to keep on giving. Every time you wear these pink socks, you're going to create those smiles. So thank you. Thank you for saying yes to this gift, because I know what you're going to do with it. And it's just a wonderful thing. And like I said, I'm just grateful. And I could not love Andrew anymore. I mean, I literally, I went to Powell's and got that book on the way home from the Red E Cafe that day. And I think I read it that afternoon.
Yeah, it's like the rest
you
is
were like,
history.
hey, there's an Easter egg in there. And I was like, oh, you mean this one? I don't want to spoil the book or the film, but yeah, and Andrew and I, we just had so much in common right from the very beginning. We're both huge Star Trek fans.
Oh, yes.
I periodically have a United Federation of Planets flag that flies in front of the house from time to time.
Yeah,
I'm
what a
not
lot of
afraid to
people don't know
mention.
about Andrew, besides he's stunningly handsome, as you can see on social media. But besides that, he's a genius. I mean, he's just a lovely, nice human. But Andrew, I've referred to you as a savant at times. But
Appreciate that. Thank you.
he's a Renaissance man. He's a savant on multiple levels. I mean, he's a genius at coding, all things computers and programming. He's a marathon runner. He is a brew master. He knows how to make all kinds of great beer. He knows everything about every beer and every liquor that's on the planet. So I was
in a good way, in a very positive
so
way.
if you ever find yourself in Spokane, you want to end up at Andrew's house, because he's got a great bar. And lastly, he's a championship barbecuer. He's got one of the most outrageous smoker grill setups that's all decked out with technology, and he knows how to smoke some pig.
Before you guys leave, I need his address.
Right.
Absolutely.
We're all heading to Spokane.
Anytime anyone comes to the Northwest, you let me know. As Nick said, thank you, Nick, so much for that. It's I love to cook. I love to brew, and that's probably why I have to run so much and exercise all the time. I think those things are all related. But yeah, it's of all the things that I do, like for joy and for my career and my profession, and I'm a CTO and I work on technology and innovation. The driving force, I have to say, has really come from what I've helped discover through Pink Socks. And I have grown personally. I have changed personally in a very positive way through this experience, through meeting people, through hearing stories, and getting out of my bubble, and getting out of my comfort zone. And it's, there's this graphic out there. If you look it up, there's a picture of a circle, and it says your comfort zone. And then there's an arrow pointing to a spot on the other side of the paper, and it says where the magic happens.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Uh, it's one of my constant themes is how do you get people out of their comfort zone? And what a wonderful way you guys have discovered to do it.
Yeah, and I have to say that I love Nick to death as well, and he's helped shepherd me into this kind of, I would call it, a new reality, and help me recognize that you can see the world in a different way, and that you can explore and meet people that you might, you don't need judgment, you don't need to look at somebody and go, oh, that's probably not somebody I want to meet, or be afraid. And the world's full of good. In fact, we believe that so much when we gift socks on the label. And by the way, all the socks that we have now, we have custom made just for us. We print everything, and we do it all at cost. And we're a nonprofit. It's all decommoditized. But on our labels, it says the world is full of good. When you see it, you believe it. Keep doing that. And if it wasn't for Nick, I don't know if I ever would have really come to that realization. And Nick's life journey has been through all kinds of things. And, don't get mad, but Nick, but he used to be the three-piece suit executive kind of guy in the past too, and he had that realization that the world doesn't have to be seen through that lens, and it led him to say yes to try new things and to explore new realities, and that chance meeting that we had did the same to me. So I wouldn't be where I'm at without the influence Nick has had on my life. And, it's been life altering in such a positive way. And, I'm grateful to have met somebody like Nick and what we're able to do.
I'm grateful for you, Pat. I just can't tell you how much Andrew and I love each other. And
I'm getting that impression.
I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania now, so and he lives in Spokane. But when we both lived in Portland, it was just so much fun seeing each other all the time. And then when everybody moved, it was like, okay, well, great, we'll just still see each other at conferences. And we were traveling all the time pre-pandemic, and then the pause happened, and we haven't been able to travel that much. So, I mean, one of, if not the first places I went to when we picked up the van in California was to go see Andrew in Spokane, and just the hugs and the smiles and being around him, and as conferences are coming back online slowly now in person, so everything's switched to virtual, but some of the conferences in some of the cities right now have the green light if everybody's vaccinated, and wear your mask and protect everybody, and really looking forward to getting back out there and seeing people in real life. And Andrew, we would, I mean, in the beginning, I guess after the second conference we went to, Andrew, probably, we're like, hey, well, let's do this thing. Here we go. You kind of take a deep breath and swing the doors open and walk into the conference center where we were, and what we immediately discovered was PinkSocks had an awareness already in the room, that there were people already there who had gotten PinkSocks at the first conference. And it just continued to grow like this through this gifting ethos. And we just kept seeding it, just kept giving away PinkSocks along the way. Let's just give them away, just boom, boom, boom. And this tribe, this community grew up, especially in healthcare, in the digital healthcare space, that it just took off that first year. And by the second year, there was no reining it in. And now it's beyond healthcare. It's in all different types of verticals, and really, really grateful to see how some school teachers around the country are using PinkSocks as part of their teaching kindness curricula, teaching kids to be kind and empathetic and to not bully each other and to be inclusive. All the stuff that grows good humans.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you found something in today's podcast that inspires you along your own life's path, because sometimes a bump in the road is actually a portal into a more conscious and meaningful life. You can subscribe to our free podcast at www.bumpintheroad.us or become a premium member to hear the full conversation. Just go to www.bumpintheroad.us for more information and to sign up.